these shots were not taken over a year. In this city, you can experience all 4 seasons in less than 1 week.
Today we are in Almaty, Kazakhstan.
I wonder how many people outside of Central Asia have even heard of Almaty. To be honest, before visiting this city, many of my friends and family had no idea where I was going. Almaty in Kazakhstan may not be the most obvious travel destination for people outside this region, but my trip made me seriously question why more people don't visit this absolutely stunning place. We start our trip in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and we're gonna go on a 7-hour flight to Kazakhstan.
I think ever since I started traveling the world, I've never been this excited to visit a new region and some new countries. So yeah, see you guys in Almaty, Kazakhstan.
After quite an uncomfortable flight, but one with amazing views, we landed in Almaty. Time to start our 6-day trip in the largest city of Central Asia. Unfortunately for us, the weather was awful on our first day here. But do stick around because when the weather got slightly better in the next few days, Almaty completely blew us away.
Since we're staying a little bit further away from the city center, we're going to take the subway to the downtown area. This is one of 2 subway systems in Central Asia. The other one is in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. But there's actually just one subway line here, and I think these are all the station names.
First operational in 2011, Almaty Metro feels like a museum.
The subway stations here really are like a piece of art.
The stations are very spacious and each has a special theme. For example, this one at Georgian shows the wonders of the world. It's also very affordable, costing only 120 tenge per trip, which is around 25 cents US. If it's raining like today, even taking the metro around and seeing the different stations is quite a fun activity. While many former Soviet nations are famous for their extravagant metros, here the lighting and atmosphere is very understated. The art and mosaics, which show elements of Kazakhstan's culture, still make this one of the most elegant metros I've ever taken. But of course, we're not going to stay underground the whole day. It's time to go try some Kazakh food for the first time.
In this rainy day here in Almaty, we arrive at our first stop, Navat. Navat is quite a big chain restaurant here in Kazakhstan. They serve local food and they also serve food from other countries in this region.
Navat was strongly recommended to me by a local who I met on my flight. Immediately when entering the restaurant, we are immersed in this super lovely ambience. From the beautiful lights and decorations to the very friendly staff, it really feels like a warm welcome to this country.
他先给我们上了一个餐前面包，类似炸的面团，叫做包尔萨克。
Really fluffy, really squishy. Delicious, nice little appetizer snack.
Now let's move on to the main dishes.
For our first dish here, we got a besh parmak, which is considered the national dish of Kazakhstan. This dish is more commonly either served with lamb or horse meat. We're not gonna get the horse meat, we got a beef version. We're gonna slowly make our way up to that horse meat. Literally, the name besh parmak means 5 fingers because traditionally you're supposed to eat this dish with your hands, but I think today we're gonna stick to using a fork. I love flat noodles, so I'm really excited for this dish. All right, our first taste of Kazakhstan. Even though we got the beef topping, you can really taste that strong lamb flavor in it. I think the way it's cooked inside this rich lamb broth.
非常非常宽的面条，这个盘子的汤汁没有很多，但是每一块面它的入味都挺足的。
For the next dish, of course, we gotta get plov.
Even though plov or pilaf is commonly associated with Uzbekistan, it's of course eaten throughout Central Asia.
This is a festive version of the plov, and it has 2 pieces of horse meat sausage on it. That's gonna be an interesting experience. There's a mixture of lamb and beef in the middle. A lot of these raisins, some carrots. Plov is a dish I'm pretty familiar with. I've had this multiple times, but I've never had it with the horse meat sausage.
可以来一勺，什么东西都有一点的，很香哎，我喜欢这个肉的味道。
As you can see, every single little grain of rice. Unlike rice you would get in East Asia, the rice here is more chewy. It's not mushy at all, so the texture is great. And I like that there's raisins on top, so it gives it a nice sweet flavor too. Now it's time for the moment that we've been working up towards. We're gonna try the horse meat sausage. It seems like there's a piece of horse meat here. It's covered in that horse intestine, of course, and there's some fat on the outside as well. I really don't know how this is gonna taste. I have no expectation. You know what? Let's just try it. It's an interesting flavor. It doesn't taste bad. Texture is very similar to, let's say, a piece of beef.
属于那种比较有韧劲的肉，可能是因为马比较经常跑来跑去的运动吧，但是也不会很难嚼。
I don't think I'll have this every single day. I don't think I'll eat it like I eat chicken or beef. But since we're here in a new country, learning about a new culture, I still think you have to try special food like horse meat. Cheers. Now we're gonna try the tea. It's just called the Navat tea, which is the name of the restaurant. It looks like a citrus tea. There are many lemon peels inside and probably some mint as well. Oh, it smells so good. It is like a sweet tea. They definitely put some sugar inside, but you won't feel like it's overpowering. Every table here has one of these little hats. I was wondering what it's for, to wear or just for decoration. But it turns out it's actually for covering the tea to keep it warm. A really great first meal here in Almaty, Kazakhstan. The portion size of these plates are huge. There's a small portion and a large portion for each dish. The price difference is only 200 tenge, so I think they just gave us a large portion. I'd be surprised if these are the small portion sizes.
It turns out this is actually the small size, very generous portions. We really enjoyed our meal here at Navat. Even though it's actually founded in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, the chain is still immensely popular in Almaty, and I highly recommend coming here for a meal.
Oh, after battling with the freezing rain, we made our way to our second location of the day, the Green Bazaar.
因为今天实在下太大的雨了，所以我们只能进行一些室内活动。Green Bazaar 是阿拉木图历史比较久的一个市场了。以前在苏联的时候呢，它也是作为集体农庄贩售物品的一个市场。
While the scale of this market is pretty massive, it doesn't seem like there's too much variety in terms of the things that they sell. So each aisle is one little section, but it seems like every single stall in that section is selling more or less exactly the same thing. Other than like nuts and fruits, there are also some other items that are probably best not to show on camera, such as a full sheep's head and animal organs such as animal hearts, livers, and lungs. Some of them I can't even tell what they are. So if you're a vegetarian, definitely do not walk through the meat section.
While the Green Bazaar has become a big attraction here in Almaty, we did also hear from locals it can be very expensive for tourists to shop here, unless you know the prices or go with a local. So just be aware, and perhaps haggling is a must. There are also many small restaurants inside where you can eat Kazakh food, but since we had lunch already, we'll skip those today. In the afternoon, it rained even harder. So it's time to call it a day and pray for better weather soon.
Good morning from Almaty, Kazakhstan. After terrible weather yesterday, the sun is finally out. It's not completely blue sky, it's still a little bit cloudy, but it's so much better than yesterday. One thing I absolutely love about Almaty is that the sidewalk is so wide. Every sidewalk is like separated into 3 parts. There's the part with the trees, which separates the road from the sidewalk. And then on the sidewalk itself, there's always a lane for the pedestrians and a lane for the bicycles and the scooters. I've never seen a city this pedestrian friendly before. But because the city itself is so big, it does take quite a while to get from point A to point B.
In the center of the Panfilov Park is the very grand Ascension Cathedral, an Eastern Orthodox cathedral that dates back to the early 1900s.
This cathedral is one of the largest wooden churches in the world, and apparently it was built without using a single nail, which is really impressive. During a devastating earthquake that destroyed most of Almaty in the early 1900s, this church actually survived.
Anyone can enter the cathedral to visit, but do dress modestly and women are advised to cover their hair as well. The prominent religion in Kazakhstan is Islam, but nearly 1/5 of the country is Christian, with the majority of them being Orthodox.
我觉得它比较妙点就是它对光线艺术的应用。它的玻璃不是那种非常复杂的彩绘的玻璃，它就是很简单。可能就是因为教堂内本身这些装饰、这些圣像已经非常繁复了，所以它的玻璃就非常简单，就只有红、黄、蓝3个基本的原色。但是那个光打过来的时候，你依然会感觉整个教堂就充满了一种神秘又宁静的色彩，适合你静静的去欣赏这座建筑里面的艺术。我们现在来到了阿拉木图的秋天。
There's a lot of orange leaves around, but unfortunately, since it was raining so hard the past few days, many of the leaves have fallen off already. Most of the leaves still on the trees are green or just about to turn orange, but nevertheless, it's still really beautiful. So we have arrived at the Memorial of Glory.
Opened in 1975, this monument honors the 28 Panfilov guardsmen who fought during the Battle of Moscow in World War II. Many of these soldiers were Kazakh or from other Central Asian countries.
The design of the monument itself is really stunning. You can feel the strength and power.
In addition to this statue, an eternal flame burns here, dedicated to the memory of all the soldiers who lost their lives during the war.
I think autumn really is the perfect time to come visit Almaty. It's just warm enough for it not to be like painfully freezing cold. It's still quite comfortable walking through this little park and looking at these beautiful autumn leaves.
现在每棵树呢，它们都处于一种渐变的色调中，有红、有黄、有绿，每一棵树都有自己独一无二的颜色。在阿拉木图这市区里呢，有非常大的绿化面积，包括在这个公园里面，你完全就可以被植物所环绕。每走一段呢，就有很多给游人的小凳子，所以可以随时坐下来欣赏秋天。 不好意思，刚刚不应该说它这个天气一点都不冷了。现在太阳一走，气温一下就骤降到跟刚刚是2个季节了，还是有点让人瑟瑟发抖啊。我们要准备走去吃午饭的地方了。
So right now we're here at a Georgian restaurant for lunch. I've never had Georgian food before, so we didn't really know what to order. So we just looked at the reviews of this restaurant, saw what other people ordered, and chose the dishes that we thought looked really delicious. One of the most popular dishes is this, the khachapuri. It's sort of like a pita bread type of thing. We got our khachapuri with mushrooms and chicken. And there's also an egg yolk inside, but it's broken already. The staff member told us we're supposed to just take the bread from the outside and dip it in the middle to eat.
我一般是吃披萨都没有那么喜欢吃面包边的人，它这个面包边意外烤的不是那种很邦邦硬的，而是很酥脆的那种。
Here in the khachapuri, the crust is the best part. For our next dish, we got a salmon chashashuli. I think this is like a Georgian stew dish with tomatoes and some other vegetables. And we also got a salad to go with it. Let's try it. Scoop up some of the sauce. Oh, that's really good.
I've heard that chashashuli is usually a beef stew, which I think makes more sense than this. But since I've never had the original before, I still think this salmon version is really yummy. I don't think I've ever had salmon cooked this way in a stew. Really nice tomato and onion sauce.
Usually when we eat salmon or fish, we give it a squeeze of lemon. But here that tomato sauce gives it that acidity to balance out the fish flavor. I feel like whenever we're traveling, we actually very rarely eat at these more elegant sit-down restaurants. We prefer trying like local small shops or street food. But since Almaty is a very international city, I still think it's great to come here and try dishes from other nearby regions that you can rarely eat. So this Georgian restaurant is really delicious. Highly recommend this place.
The sun is out in Almaty. Let's have our fingers crossed that it stays this way. Today we're heading to the Shymbulak ski resort, more commonly known as Modo by locals here. If you want to go there by public transport and without a taxi, you can take bus number 12. We have arrived in the Shymbulak cable car station. You can see the autumn leaves, some of the snow. It must be so pretty when we go up there. Now we're gonna go catch the cable car. We got our cable car ticket to go up the mountain. It's holiday pricing right now, so it's $5,500 per person round trip. Unfortunately, they said the cable car that goes to the very top of the mountain is closed for repairs. So that's very disappointing, but we'll see if we can still do a little bit of hiking up top. At least there's no line right now. Even this view going up to the first stop in the mountain is already so gorgeous. You can see that there's a thin layer of snow on the landscape, but there's also some color, so it's not completely barren. Very surreal. So I kind of feel maybe I've been lied to. It turns out the open air cable car is still operating. It's the closed cable car that's shut down for repairs. In the past, you can actually get a package ticket to take both cable cars up there. But now it turns out the open air cable car is a separate price and it's no longer a package ticket. So we paid another 3,000 tenge. But I mean, we're here already and I think that will be the best view. So we have to take the open air cable car and go up. I've never seen a view like this before. Even when I go skiing in Norway or Beijing and northern cities, I've never seen a snow-covered landscape with this many trees. Usually when I visit ski resorts, the landscape below is like all flat, but here there's still so much vegetation, so much nature. It's really 3D if you know what I mean.
觉得我在瑞士都没有这种那么沉浸式的在雪山里面坐缆车的感觉，感觉这种画面就像我们去迪士尼来看那个全景的电影的时候才看到的画面。
To be honest, the past few days when the weather was pretty terrible, I was a little bit disappointed. But now today, after seeing this scene, there's no more disappointment.
And you can experience autumn and winter at the same time.
Like in the city, it definitely feels like autumn because there's the orange leaves. But here, it's completely winter paradise. I think most people who come here just stop at the first level. They don't come all the way up here, but I think you have to come all the way up here. In the winter, I mean, there's really no words to describe it. During spring, during summer, it'll be a completely different view as well. It'll be all green and it'll be just as beautiful.
你知道看到雪会出现什么吗？会出现发疯的南方人。
This is not a good idea.
As you can see, we're not even wearing the proper attire for snow. We're still wearing sneakers. Look at our jacket. It's really not suitable for this weather. But at least we're here in October, so in this attire, it's survivable.
Sitting on top of this hill, the city looks really, really far away, small in the distance. And you can tell there's not many high rises in Almaty. It's a really flat city, but it has these mountains in the background to give it that grandness. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to. If I was wearing the right winter clothing, I feel like I can stay here for hours. But I think it's time to go back down again. I'm also a little bit hungry. Time to say goodbye to Shymbulak Ski Resort.
As we head back down again, let's just enjoy together these beautiful views of the snow-capped mountains. Almaty was actually in the running to host the 2022 Winter Olympic Games, but unfortunately lost to Beijing by just 4 votes. Shymbulak was considered as the venue for the alpine skiing events. I really hope Almaty will get the chance to host in the future so more people can discover this stunning city.
Good morning again from Almaty, Kazakhstan. Yesterday we saw the snow mountains up close, but there's actually so many places around the city where you can see the mountains from afar, where it looks like the mountains are wrapped around the city. And one of the best places to come see that is at the First President's Park.
阿拉木图呢，因为盛产苹果，所以又叫苹果之城。在这个城市里可以看到非常多跟苹果有关的元素，比如这个就是在门口的大苹果雕塑。
Of course, there are many places in the world where you can find these beautiful snow mountains, but in Europe or other places, they're really hard to get to. Here in Almaty, the mountains are like within arm's reach. You can take a short bus ride or just come to any park in the city and you'll be able to see these mountains. And it's so crazy to think that for people who live in Almaty, this is like their everyday view.
对于这里的居民来说，可能就是你晨跑、散步，抬头就能看到非常寻常的景象，真的好羡慕啊！而且不论是在公园、街边还是居民区，都有非常多这种给孩子的游乐设施，这种设施多到甚至也没有小孩的要来跟我抢这个秋千。其实也不需要赶时间去什么景点，完全可以找一个街边的椅子，找一个小秋千，就这样慢慢悠悠地欣赏这里的秋天和雪山。
I feel like we've been walking for 30 minutes already and we only walked 1/3 of the park. Where else in the world have you seen such a giant space with such a gorgeous view in the background with absolutely zero people?
这么宽的一个公园，它那儿就放了一颗苹果。
I really don't understand why so few people come visit Kazakhstan. I guess geographically speaking, it's not the easiest place to get to. I had to fly to Malaysia to find a flight to come here. But I think it's totally worth the travel. Even just spending 4 days in this beautiful city, I already love it so much. I feel like I can sit in a park like this and literally do nothing the whole day. It's not cramped at all. So when you're walking on the streets here, your mind just feels open. You won't feel like you're blocked in and stressed out. We've reached the highest point of the entire park for a panoramic view of the mountains. Down here in the city, I seriously can't believe that yesterday was all white and today is all golden. This really is the same city. For lunch today, we're gonna have more Central Asian food. This restaurant is more Uzbek themed, but similar to most Central Asian restaurants in Almaty, they serve dishes from the entire region. So we got a plate of lagman, which is the Uzbek noodle dish, and we got manti with beef inside. Of course, they also serve manti with lamb and horse meat, but I think we'll just stick to the beef today. Last but not least, we got a chicken shashlik. Try some of this lagman noodles. I love these thicker type of noodles, so there's more of a chew to it. I'm not sure what type of meat's in here. It sort of tastes like beef, but who knows, maybe it could be horse meat. And there's also lots of vegetables in this dish, which is good. I feel like during our time in Almaty, we didn't eat too many vegetables. So other than the meat, they also have celery, pepper, and onions inside. Now I'm gonna try the manti. It's so big, but I feel like if you cut it open, the filling is just gonna fall out. So I think I'm just gonna bite into it. Yeah, that's really delicious. I feel like manti is actually quite different from the Chinese dumplings I'm used to. In Chinese dumplings, the filling is usually squished together, sort of like a meatball inside the wrapper. But here, they use chunks of meat.
这种烤肉是整个中亚到中东到土耳其都非常常见的一种做法了。Shashlik 呢，更像是我们在土耳其吃的那种叫 shish kebab。
Since I'm allergic to lamb, unfortunately, we're just gonna try the chicken one. Before I put it in the wrap, I just want to try the chicken with the sauce itself. It's a very concentrated tomato sauce, similar to the sauce of the lagman, but much stronger. I'm really not sure if this is the proper way to eat it, so we're just gonna eat it the way we eat a kebab. Add some of the onions inside. That is so good. So many different spices on the grilled chicken. I can taste the cumin, some of the paprika, and they said it's chicken breast, but it's so juicy and tender.
It seems like the people here eat lunch quite late. We came here at around 12:30 and the restaurant was almost completely empty. Now it's around 2 o'clock and it's completely packed. So yeah, I guess this meal is a good preview for what we're gonna have in Uzbekistan in the coming weeks. Similar to many cities around the world, now Almaty is filled with these electric scooters, but we've actually never rode one before. So for the experience, we're gonna ride one of these to our next destination.
还有很多个公司的牌子，但是我们决定就用最常见这个 Yandex 的车试一下。
I guess for the experience, that was still quite fun, but honestly, it's not cheap at all. I feel like we spent some time trying to get used to the scooter. It's a lot faster than I expected. I think in Almaty, it's a good place to do it since the sidewalks are so wide. In other places where the sidewalks are narrow, I don't think I will want to try this. It might be a little bit dangerous. Do give it a go just for the experience, but be careful. For our final stop of the day, we're gonna go trek up Kok Tobe. The driver dropped us off at the bottom of the hill, and now we have to hike our way up the remaining bit.
这座山并不是很高，但是它的缆车价格跟我们昨天去的那个雪山前半段一样了，所以爬山还是更划算一点。
Well, I did not expect there to be a whole amusement park up on this hill. There's a small Ferris wheel, some activities for kids, and also a Beatles monument.
The top of Kok Tobe is definitely not the best view. You just have to walk down a bit from the cable car station, and then you'll reach a road with this panoramic view of the entire city. Check this out.
It's our second to last day in Almaty, and today we're going 3 hours away from the city center. The Almaty region is home to many natural wonders that are definitely worth exploring. Since it's quite difficult to get there on our own, we booked a day trip to visit 2 incredible destinations, Charyn Canyon and Kolsai Lake.
We have arrived at our first location of the day, the Charyn Canyon. Charyn Canyon is actually the second largest canyon in the world after the Grand Canyon in America. And there's actually many little animals here. I saw so many little mice running around. Apparently there's also lizards and snakes as well. Hopefully we don't encounter those today. While you can see the canyon formation from down here, I don't think it's the best view. So we're gonna go back up there and check it out. We just saw a dude climb this route up. We're gonna attempt it as well. Come on, you're almost there. I don't know what our tour guide was thinking, telling us to walk the canyon. Up on here, this is the view.
I've never seen a landscape like this before in my life. It really feels like we are on a different planet. These giant formations are like castles sculpted by nature.
The big downside of group tours is that we only get limited time at each location. I feel like I can spend maybe a whole afternoon exploring this canyon and just enjoying the view. But since time is so limited, it feels like we're being rushed to get back, and it's not a great feeling. On this trip, there are also two other canyons, the Moon Canyon and the Black Canyon. This one here is called the Moon Canyon because apparently on a bird's eye view, it looks like a moon. But yeah, it's not nearly as impressive as the Charyn Canyon. So I think I would rather spend like 20 more minutes at the Charyn Canyon and not come to visit this one.
Both Moon Canyon and Black Canyon are still part of the Charyn Canyon National Park. I'm sure they'll be more interesting if we actually get to explore them. But today for this tour, they are just places to cross off a list. With only 20 minutes at these smaller canyons, it was pretty pointless. Instead, we really should have spent more time at the Valley of Castles, but it's not my choice. So this is something to keep in mind when booking a group tour. Around 2 p.m, it's finally time to eat. We arrived in this small village and we're gonna have lunch. It's quite surprising that in this middle of nowhere, they actually have a village, quite a sizable village as well. We got one lagman and one plov. Looks different from the lagman and plov we had in Almaty. And even though the meal is quite simple, it's 3,000 tenge, which is not that cheap, but it's not bad either. Honestly though, I can't complain. I'm just grateful that there is warm food to eat here in the middle of nowhere. It's still quite surprising that in the middle of these mountains, there's actually a settlement, civilization. Apparently, this is a village where people stay at if they want to visit Kolsai Lake and Charyn Canyon, so most of the houses here are guest houses. Mealtime over, it's time to get a move on again. After another short bus ride, we are here at our final location of the day, Kolsai Lake. Unfortunately, since the sun sets early these days, I think half of the lake is already covered in shadow, but there's still a bit of light left. So let's go chase that light. So we decided to rent a pedal boat here on Kolsai Lake. This boat ride costs 5,000 tenge for 30 minutes. Honestly, it's a little bit expensive, but for such a touristy destination, it's an acceptable price. The only thing slightly unfortunate is that there's no more light now. We can only be here for around 2 hours before it gets completely dark. So if you get a chance to visit Kolsai Lake by yourself without one of these group tours, highly recommend coming here in the morning, since that's probably when the light will shine on this entire lake. I think overall, the two places we visited today were still very beautiful, but this tour really is a bit rushed. I feel like if we get to skip the two canyons in the middle, the time will be slightly better. But I mean, transportation-wise, it is quite hard to come to these places. In the end, even though we didn't spend too much time in these locations, we still got to see the beautiful view, and that's what's the most important. Although Kazakhstan is mostly vast wilderness, when something does appear on the landscape, it's always spectacular.
Good morning from Almaty. Today is our last day here. We're going to take a flight to Tashkent, Uzbekistan in the evening. But we have one more full day to explore the city. And on our last day here, the temperature has risen. It's 20 degrees Celsius right now, compared to like the near 0 degrees in the past few days. Somehow we experienced all 4 seasons during our stay in Almaty. As it basically feels like summer today, everyone is sitting outdoors to eat, which is really nice. All of these outdoor seating were closed in the past few days.
And another type of cuisine you gotta try in Almaty is Korean food, because surprisingly, nearly 2% of the population are ethnic Koreans. Right now we're at a very popular chain called Korean street food. I got a kimchi jjigae and Rika got a bibimbap. The portion size is actually quite big, similar to the other food here in Kazakhstan. The definition and vibe of street food here in Almaty is so different to what you would find in East Asia or Southeast Asia. Since the sidewalks here are so large, there's a lot of space for street food. So it feels like an outdoors cafe or something. Sitting out here in a nice autumn afternoon, perfect temperature, delicious food. What more can you ask for?
We've made our way to Arbat Street, which is like a major walking street here in Almaty. We walked on this street many times already in the past few days, but since it was raining, it felt completely dead. Now on a Monday afternoon, it's super packed and lively again. We've seen this term Zhibek in so many places here in Almaty, and it turns out it actually means Silk Road in Kazakh. So this entire street is called Zhibek Street, and the walking street portion is called Arbat.
我觉得阿拉木图这个城市呢，它不是那种会让你第一眼就觉得非常惊艳的城市，因为它也没有那么辉煌的建筑或者那么惊人的让你印象深刻的城市天际线。但是行走在这个城市里，真的可以说是很舒适的一种城市漫步。
Behind me in this small portion of the street, there are many artists here displaying their artwork. And of course, none of this was here when it was raining. It's all really beautiful. Too bad we can't bring anything with us. I feel like many people, especially from Western countries, only know about Kazakhstan because of Borat. But wow, that movie cannot be more wrong. Personally, the first time I heard about this country was when Almaty and Astana were holding the Winter Asian Games more than 1 decade ago. And then in high school geography class, there was a whole lesson about countries who moved their capitals to a purpose-built city. And of course, Kazakhstan was one of them. They moved their capital from Almaty over to Astana. But even though I know some basic facts about this country, most of it is still extremely unknown to me. I'll be honest, we initially planned to stop in Almaty only as a transfer point to Uzbekistan. So I also fall in the group of people who may have overlooked this city. But the more I researched, the more I realized we had to stay longer. What started as a 2-day stopover plan changed to a 6-day trip. For me, the best feeling when traveling is when a place I have so few expectations for completely blows me away. Almaty is now easily one of my top 10 favorite cities in the world. I think this is the magic of travel, discovering new places even if they're halfway across the world and not necessarily the trendiest or most popular destination.
As the leaves change color, I dive into you. When summer's fading, there's nothing to do but bask in the glory of the winter sun. Maybe this is the season of love.
I really hope more people consider Almaty in Kazakhstan for their next adventure. You won't be disappointed.